All right. Well, good morning, good afternoon. Thanks for joining us. We're talking here today about unleashing lightning fast reporting and insights with DataSelf for Acumatica. Tom, would you introduce yourself?
Yep. Tom Fitzpatrick, BI Solution Engineer with DataSelf, and excited about today's presentation and doing a 20-minute or so demonstration of the product for you.
Thank you, Tom. My name is Johnny Girardi. I'm DataSelf's founder and CEO. I'm a big data geek. I was a software engineer in my early career, became a business person, and for the past 20 years or so, I've been helping mid-sized organizations using systems like Acumatica and similar systems to make more informed decisions. This is my license plate. It reads Data Geek. Might not be so easy, but it reads Data Geek. When I showed to my teenager daughter the plate, she read Date a Geek. And I cracked up and I said, well, that was not the purpose. I'm single, that might work sometimes, but no, I'm a big data geek. Anyhow, I'm excited to have you guys in this call. Primarily the agenda is talk about data hero needs from a KPI reporting standpoint. Tom will do a presentation of how data heroes get power with DataSelf. And we'll talk specifically about the DataSelf value added for Acumatica clients. We cover multiple verticals. We have clients all over the place, and these are the ones that are most popular in Acumatica. The reason probably you're here because you've been investing in what's called a data-driven culture. Acumatica is a great platform to get the data in. There's a lot of reporting that you can do out of Acumatica to foster your data-driven culture. Acumatica has a very strong reporting tools. I've worked with more than a dozen different ERP systems, and congratulations, Acumatica is one of the top when it comes to reporting capabilities, reporting power. So you are pretty well served with a lot of reporting needs. However, when people knock on our door is because they complain that there are still limited KPI power. KPI is primarily key performance indicators, reports, dashboards, data analysis. The people say that even though Acumatica has a lot of tools, there are limitations. What are the limitations that people complain in Acumatica or different ERP systems? The first one is complexity. When it comes to build new KPIs, refresh reports and whatnot, quite often you need to have a lot of training to understand GIs or understand the Acumatica report writer. Is something that a business analyst definitely can learn and be self-sufficient, but quite often business people don't have the time to learn and they find it too complex to make changes. And that's one of the problems. It's complex and it's manual. Some KPIs, they need to wait. A business person needs to wait for a business analyst to do something in Excel before the KPI can be ready. And that usually only happens once a week, once a month, and not anytime, anywhere. The second complaint is some reports take too long to run. Even Acumatica, when people press the report and it takes too long. What is too long? In our definition is if a report takes more than 10 seconds, once you press the refresh, if it takes more than 10 seconds to render the data, that's too long. And sometimes in Acumatica, some reports can take much longer than that. So running things fast is also a complaint in some Acumatica clients. And the last topic is nowadays, people are trying to be very, very data-driven. And sometimes is what KPIs should you track? You're probably tracking a bunch of KPIs. What else you should be paying attention to? So sometimes it's just inspiration of KPIs that people lack. At the end of the day, people want what we call the data hero wishes. They want the reporting tool to be easy. They want to allow business people to be self-sufficient, make a lot of ad hoc analysis without calling for business analysts. They want things to be automated. Don't need to call anyone to get the reports delivered, refreshed automatically. There's no human intervention, so as much automation as possible. They want things to run fast. As long as reports run in seconds, people are happy. And usually as They want to be inspired by what other KPIs I should be paying attention to that today we don't even know or we don't have time to build. So they also look for KPI libraries. So those are the wishes. Right now, what you have most likely is Acumatica. Acumatica is called an OLTP system. OLTP means Online Transaction Processing System. ERPs are an OLTP, CRM, payroll. A lot of these systems is an OLTP system. And the focus of the reporting of Acumatica is for the staff, is to be sure that the staff can get their job done. Usually looking at your data today, what to ship, what to pay, what to receive. It's very transactional oriented and usually works with small data sets. If you're just working with OLTP reporting needs, Acumatica is awesome for reporting. The problem is many times KPIs, you need more than what's in Acumatica. You need what's called a BI-based reporting solution, business intelligence-based reporting solution. That's usually when your KPIs challenges hit, like I mentioned in the prior slide. You need something that is management-oriented. And usually management-oriented means you are looking at the big numbers, strategic, predictive. You work with large data sets, your numbers by week, by month, by quarter, by year, year over year, trend analysis. And quite often, if you don't use a BI-based reporting, doing that in Acumatica, it's usually not efficient. You got to export to Excel, do a lot of manual work. So BI-based reporting solve those problems. And BI-based reporting usually also comes with powerful in a large library of KPIs that you can just look at which KPIs that are available, pick and choose which ones apply to your business, and then you can render those KPIs to the right person at the right time. So that's a KPI-based reporting. A lot more power, is easier, faster, more automated, and comes with a lot of out-of-the-box KPIs for you to apply to your business. Having said that, let's let Tom show the magic.
Excellent. So you all should be seeing my screen now, which is just an Acumatica instance. So I'm starting here. This is a standard Acumatica dashboard here. And the reason I'm starting here is just to show the fact that within our dashboards here and our workspaces on the left-hand side, you can actually embed DataSelf inside of your Acumatica instance. So here we have DataSelf dashboards available for us. And when I select that, it's going to render or pull up my DataSelf dashboards. So nice thing is that DataSelf does support single sign-on. So for those users that have access to DataSelf, when they log into Acumatica, they would also be logging into DataSelf. Now I want to show you just a handful of different reporting templates that we have available. We have, around 8,000 or so. We don't have the time, nor do I really want to go through demoing all 8,000 reports, but we do have up to 8,000 pre-configured reports and dashboards for Acumatica. Now, how you're going to access those reports once you've logged in, you can select this drop down here. You can see them up at the top. The first handful of templates that I'm going to show you is really just for you to understand the concepts, the functionality, and then from there on, we're just going to get into different business areas. We're going to try and really cover a lot of those verticals within this call today, but the first handful of templates is mainly feature and function focused. Okay, so this first template is our slicer template. It's meant to provide quick answers to ad hoc questions. Okay, so on the right-hand side, I can see my filters, the financial year, financial period. I can even get more granular to the days if I'd like. But this is where I could just simply, check some boxes here. Now, instead of seeing sales by item in this instance, now I'm seeing sales by item across all 3 years at a summary level. Okay, just simple point, click, and apply, and the data instantly renders. Okay, maybe I want to drill down into these a little bit further. Okay, I can simply expand. I'm seeing all the months within that year. Maybe I just want to see Q1. Again, point, click, and apply, very intuitive, and the data is going to render for me. Up at the top, we have our slicers. So this is where I can slice and dice that data. Right now we're seeing items. I select this drop down. This is just a standard out of the box demo set that you're seeing, or demo data. In a production environment, we would be able to teach you how to, or we could add any metrics or KPIs that you would like to analyze, okay? But I do want to highlight the ability to pull in really an unlimited number of custom fields. So DataSelf, we leverage a enterprise grade ETL plus programming tool. So that ETL just simply stands for extract, transform, and load. It essentially allows us to extract any data, whether that's Acumatica data or data from other data sources. We can extract that, place it into a data warehouse, and then leverage that data for reporting. So even if you have a heavily configured and personalized instance of Acumatica, we'll be able to extract that data for reporting purposes. Okay. But continuing on here, maybe I want to see this data broken up by my salespeople. I select salespeople, and in a second or two, I see that data. Okay. Maybe now I want to expand on this. I want to see sales by salesperson by customer. Okay. Maybe I want to now pull in that item information. All I'm doing is I'm just simply expanding, point, click, and apply, and the data is going to instantly and accurately render for me. Okay. Now, what I've done essentially through these series of clicks, maybe 3 or 4 clicks or so, is I've essentially created, what would be synonymous with a generic inquiry in Acumatica. But the nice thing here is, as a business user, I don't need to know how these tables join together, what the relationships are, what I need to do on the back end in order to make this come to life. I'm just simply point, click, and applying the metrics that I want to analyze, and it's going to render for me. Okay. Now here we're seeing our sales information here. This is a drop down. This would be multi-select. So again, just like these slicers up at the top, we can teach you how to add additional metrics, or we could add those for you. But this is where I could add like gross profit percentage, quantity sold. Again, this template is just related towards sales, but at its core, it's a template. So we could leverage this for GL financials, purchasing, inventory, project accounting, and so forth. Okay. But here you can see the ease and the intuitiveness of just being able to slice and dice your data. Really has a look and feel similar to like an Excel pivot table, but we like to call pivot table on steroids. Okay. This is our 5th most popular reporting template, again, due to the ease of use. Okay. Johnny, anything that you'd like to compliment there?
Yeah, just a quick note you already mentioned, but without this kind of solution, every click that Tom did here in Acumatica would be like creating a new GI. And you don't have to create GIs. We have many clients that with DataSelf, they stop creating GIs all the time because people can make slice and dice the data without the need to create new GIs. Back to you, Tom.
Great. So let me please hold while I sign in here. Perfect. Okay. So next, what I'd like to do is show you our natural language queries. So artificial intelligence is certainly the talk of the town in the tech space. So this is where DataSelf is going to leverage some of that AI machine learning capabilities. So natural language query is going to work very similar to like ChatGPT, if any of you on this webinar have interacted with that platform, where I simply ask a question, and then based off of that question, it's going to go into a database and answer that question for me. Okay. Natural language query is going to work in a very similar manner, except when I ask a question, it's going to dig into the database, and then it's going to spin up a report that previously did not exist based off of what I've asked. Okay, so we're just going to use a simple example here, sales by salesperson in 2030. Okay, and when I enter that, once I have that typed out and hit enter, you can see instantly and accurately I'm seeing my sales broken down by my salespeople in a descending bar chart order. Okay. Just like in ChatGPT, maybe they almost got you the answer you want, but you want to expand upon it. It's not quite what you were looking for. Here I can just simply type in by month, enter, and now I'm seeing my sales by salesperson by month in 2030. Okay, now here we can see it's rendered as a line chart. Maybe I want to see something a little bit more, a text table. kind of that Excel-like row column look and feel, I can simply toggle this over to text table. Okay, this is a great template for kind of those easy to use or easy to run reports, just needing quick answers without having to find a report. You can just simply, in plain English, ask the question and it can reply back. But I will caution, it's not a magic wand. So it's not going to answer all of your questions. And that's why we do have, thousands of reporting templates available. But it is certainly a low barrier of entry if you want to get advanced business answers. Okay. Donnie?
Yeah, just some quick notes. What Tom just showed in this first two feature presentation is the ability for business users to be self-sufficient doing ad hoc analysis without calling anyone else. And if you notice, you can do a lot with almost no training. There's also the editing tool, like the Acumatica report editor, that only a few people have rights to, and these people have a lot more power to do more sophisticated reporting KPIs. We're not going to be showing them today how the report editor works, but if you want to learn more and we open the hood and we show you how the backend works, there are two things that you'll be amazed by. One is the report editor that is behind the scenes, behind what we're showing, is a lot more powerful than what Acumatica provides. So there's more features, there's more capabilities, allows you to run things faster. So there's more power, and at the same time, it's easier. And that's usually is the opposite. You have more power, it's more complicated. With BI-based reporting, on the reporting side, you have a more powerful report writer that is easier to use than the Acumatica's equivalent. Usually the complexity of BI, if you think about, BI is just magic, everything is easier. Well, there's a server-side solution that also we're not going to be showing today that usually a small number of clients also learn that gives you almost infinite power and is a little bit more complicated than the equivalent in Acumatica. But a lot of the magic of the DataSelf solution is allowing business people to be a lot more self-sufficient in doing a lot of more of the analysis without taxing the business analysts, while the business analysts have a more powerful tool to do their job more efficiently. Back to you, Tom.
Next template here that I want to show is a year-over-year variances as it relates to revenues. So now more on the GL side of things. Again, a template, so it can be leveraged for purchasing, inventory, sales, etc. And just quickly explaining the vision here of DataSelf dashboards as it relates to Acumatica dashboards. So Acumatica has great real-time drillable dashboards, but when you drill into those metrics, it's going to take you into a generic inquiry. The main differentiator between DataSelf and Acumatica dashboards is the fact that when I drill into any data point here, which you'll see in a moment, it still shows or renders in that dashboard view. Okay, but it's just going to be a subset of my data based off of whatever data point that I've selected. So then I can further analyze this dashboard and really understand any outliers, so where I'm doing well, where I'm not doing so well, and then I can drill in further and understand the why something is happening. Okay, so these dashboards support unlimited drill down capabilities as well as the ability to drill across, and are meant again to answer why something is happening. Okay, so here I can see that we have our New York. If I go into my geographical view, our New York customers are growing 25% year over year. Okay, from a revenues perspective, that's a great accomplishment. Let's dive in and take a closer look. Okay, when I've selected New York, now this dashboard's only showing me data pertaining to my New York customers. Okay, all right, and although I'm doing well in New York, what's really grabbing my attention, again, those outliers here, identifying them, is the fact that my third largest customer in the prior year is down almost 900,000 in revenue this year. Okay, let's see why. I select that customer. This dashboard's now only going to show me data pertaining to this customer. Okay, what are the products or services that are declining? Well, here I can just simply highlight these items, show me the details, and then down below, I'm going to have access to the data. Okay, so this is really going to render in like a generic inquiry like look and feel. So I have that invoice date, the number, customer names, item descriptions, transactional information as well. Please note that DataSelf for Acumatica does support the hyperlinking functionality throughout Acumatica. So this is where if I see something that I want to take action on, I could actually drill into that source document and then take whatever steps I need to rectify or further examine the actual source document. So these dashboards are meant to, again, not only give you visibility, high level, how we're performing from a revenue perspective, but then being able to easily identify any outliers, click in and drill down into those, really try and understand the why, and then if necessary, be able to drill into source documentation for further analysis and additional actionable steps. Okay. Johnny, anything you'd like to compliment here?
Yeah, just quickly, Tom will be showing several of the dashboards and KPIs that are pre-configured as DataSelf. When they mentioned about the library of KPIs, this is one of them. We have 8,000. It we call interactive KPIs. And the idea of interactive KPIs is in Acumatica, when you open a report or a dashboard, you can see the data, you have a little bit of interactivity. Yes, you do. It's pretty cool, pretty good. But if you want to do extensive interactivity, usually when you click on something, you go to a GI. And quite often, you're not ready to see a GI. You need to see, like in this example, I see all the big picture, everything, where what's happening in Texas, what's happening with the customers, what happened with the items. You can drill across, you can drill down very easily without getting out of the KPI high level. And when you decide to see the details, the GI, at that point, when I want it, you can go to the GI level. And that's a capability that only BI-based reporting like DataSelf can provide.
Yeah. Great. So now I want to go, so we've kind of set the foundation in terms of the interactivity of these reports. Now I want to just go through a handful of others here just that are going to cover other business areas. But really before we get into that here, I want to show for anyone on this webinar here that maybe they have an instance of their legacy ERP running in the background just because they want to have access to that historical data. I do want to show you that because DataSelf has at the core of our platform an enterprise grade data warehouse, this is where we're going to be able to extract data from a legacy system. Maybe it's Sage 100, Sage 300 CRE, Sage 500, etc. We can extract that data into our data warehouse, and then we can actually have that data blended with your Acumatica data. So you had a seamless analysis as if you've never changed ERPs. Okay, so what you're looking here is just a small subset of that slicer template we looked at a moment ago. But here, this green is meant to indicate your legacy ERP data, and then the items that are in black, these would be your Acumatica, so your new ERP. So being able to see that all in one seamless view has been super valuable for many of our clients who, as I mentioned in the use case, either it's net new, they're moving to Acumatica, or for those that are already on Acumatica, but they've kept alive one of their legacy platforms, we can absolutely unplug that and have that data blended with your Acumatica data seamlessly. Okay. I do want to highlight the ability for operational reports as well. So here we're looking at an inventory turnover report. Now notice I'm no longer in the embedded Acumatica view of this. Okay, so it's important to note that with DataSelf, you can have those reports embedded inside of Acumatica if you'd like. But for some people or some organizations, they would still like to have it separate from their ERP. So at its core, DataSelf is going to be browser-based, so whether you want to have it be a separate site or embedded inside of your Acumatica instance, we can certainly accomplish both of those. But here, what you're seeing is just a standard comparison year over year on an inventory turnover for all of my items. Okay, so being able to see the turns, the cost of sales, and the cost on hand. Okay. Additionally, outside of just being able to see inventory turnovers, this is where we're also going to be able to see inventory planning. So this is where we can really get good projections on our inventory items. So within Acumatica, you do get some of this visibility, but typically it's only at an item by item level. You're not going to be able to get a full drop down view like you are here within DataSelf. Okay. You can set up demand thresholds, so high demand items, normal, low demand. Here's our item, so just some demo data showing through, but then you can see our various categories, okay? On hand, on a purchase order, on sales orders. The items in red indicate where we're at a shortage, where we don't have the inventory necessary to fulfill our obligations from a sales perspective, or maybe we need to establish some commitments with our vendors, whether that's through a purchase order or maybe on the production side, we need to create more work orders here to meet the demand here. But those in red indicate a shortage, and those in black indicate an excess. And the nice thing here is you can see over a set period of time what that's going to look like. Okay, so you're going to be able to plan or forecast out into the future within DataSelf for operational or fulfillment needs. Okay. Additionally, moving into the more of the finance side of the house here, we do have the ability to pull in, right now we're just looking at a standard profit and loss report, but we are pulling in budget data as well. Okay, so whether this is budget information that's coming from Acumatica, or maybe you're handling your budgets inside of Excel, we can connect to that Excel template. So that would just be another data source. We can connect to that Excel template and have it be a live feed where you could get your budgets to actuals. And here we're seeing that variance information as well. Okay, consistent throughout the platform on the right-hand side is the ability to filter. So we could do some comparative analysis year over year, month over month, etc., as well as have it be consolidated by the company or the branch. We can even have it down to a department or a segment or a dimensional accounting perspective for those that are leveraging the segmented sub-accounts. Okay. Additionally, we have the ability from a forecasting perspective to predict your cash on hand. Okay, so this is just one iteration here, but really what we're looking at from a forecasting perspective is the money that we have on hand today, okay? And we're combining that with the money that's coming in, whether that's through AR invoices or sales orders. And we're looking at that against the money that's leaving the organization through AP bills, POs, payrolls, okay? And then based off of that, okay, this black line is going to show, based off of the money that's coming in and the money that's going out, where we will be at any point in time from a cash on hand perspective. Okay, so here we can see those dates over in the upper right that you can adjust accordingly, but you would be able to forecast where you will be at any point in time into the future from a cash on hand perspective. All right. We do have that data here, underlying data that makes up that visual here as well. There's a variety of what-if analysis that we can also go through with this report that would dynamically adjust. So maybe I'm expecting a large sales order to come into the future. I type in it's for $100,000. It's going to dynamically adjust this report accordingly, and so forth. So there's a variety of other ways that we could certainly explore in additional demonstrations. Okay. Now moving more on to the projects, construction, field service side of the house, we do have WIP reporting as well within WIP reporting templates as well within DataSelf. So standard WIP report. Okay, so we can see the contracted, original, revised, and actuals here. This is where I could actually drill into, let's say, our revenue recognition. This project ID here, it's going to pull up my tasks. And then I can actually drill into my task level and see the transactions that are associated at the task level. Okay, so this can be modified to meet whatever WIP reporting needs that you need, but it has that drillability, that drill down capability native inside of our reporting platform. Additionally, we have the ability for resource management visibility. So we have that Gantt chart view. So for on those projects, you can see the employees that are assigned to it and the amount of time that they're going to be spending on it, the overlap between projects and so forth. So you do have that resource management look and feel. This is an area where natively is not available inside of the Acumatica solution. Okay. Now, the last thing that I want to show or highlight here is the ability to have a 360-degree view dashboard. So really what this is, and it's going to take a moment or two just to process through, is because it's a series of multiple dashboards in one view. Okay, so this is meant for, C-suite upper management to view organization as a whole, how well we're performing. This could be for department heads to understand how their departments, there's a lot of different ways in which you can leverage this reporting template. In my demo instance that I'm showing you here, this left column here is more forecasting or leading statistics, okay? So we looked at the cash flow projection, but we have my AR aging, open sales orders, open CRM ops, we have some inventory. This middle pane here is more financial driven. It's more lagging statistics. So looking at today and back, whether that's 3, 6, 12 months, whatever the frequency you'd like. Okay. But looking at this from a revenues against my budgets, et cetera, my expenses. And then the right-hand side is pulling in data from outside data sources. Okay. So maybe this is a e-commerce sales, BigCommerce, Shopify, WooCommerce, point of sale information, Google Analytics for page views and whatnot, HCM information for human resources, as well as maybe some labor utilization for those that are on the project side of the house as well. So again, it can look like a lot at the beginning. It's why we save it for the end. So hopefully you can are seeing the value of these dashboards, but you can have multiple dashboards put in one view. And then I could, for instance, just drill across in this use case and, hey, I want to look at a little bit more detail at my aging. Okay, it's great that we're making sales. It's even better when we're paid on them. And now I'm seeing the full template of my AR aging. Okay, where then it's just going to be consistent dashboard functionality. Okay. All right. That was everything that I wanted to cover here from a reporting demonstration perspective. We tried to do our best to cover as much as we could in a short amount of time. If there is something that you saw that you would be interested in exploring further, please reach out to your Acumatica partner or reach out to us, and we'd be happy to set up additional time here to really understand your needs, your pains, what you're looking for, so that you can make more informed, data-driven decisions. But with that, I'll turn it over to John.
Before you stop, Tom, we cover a lot of different KPI areas. Hopefully one or two or maybe a few you got interested in. And as we mentioned, we have 8,000. We showed you about 7. There's a lot more KPIs related to distribution, manufacturing, construction, hospitality. I mean, we have a lot of different KPIs for different industries. And one of the main ideas here is, first of all, as Tom showed, how easy it is to slice and dice the data to interact with KPIs, giving power to decision makers, as well as the richness, the breadth and depth of the KPI library that is built in DataSelf. And the idea is when you start with DataSelf, you don't start with a blank page. What do you want to start from scratch? And good luck. No, the starting point, there's a lot of modeling out of Acumatica ready to go. And in our experience, a subset of this KPI library would be valuable on day one. And then we teach you to fish. The idea is not we do things. No, it's we teach you how to use DataSelf, and then you start to use a library, you start to customize it, and you can start building new things from scratch. Adding your own data sources is a completely customizable business intelligence framework. And this demo is a little bit of showing a little bit of what the out-of-the-box for Acumatica is. Tom, great job. Thank you. If you can give me the, there we go, the control. All right. Can you see the demo page?
Yes.
Thank you. All right. So just behind the scenes, how does the magic works? Why those reports and dashboards, they're running seconds, and everything that Tom showed, once it's connected to your Acumatica, to your payroll, to your Google Analytics, to your BigCommerce, Shopify, to your whatever your data, your HubSpot, Salesforce.com, whatever it is, once it is connected and it's pulling the data, the speed of the reports render those reports in seconds. Even the 360, which is a dashboard pulling data from multiple data sources, it rendered in about 10 seconds-ish. Part of the reason is because behind the scenes, we have what we show in this diagram. The far left are typical business pain points that people have before DataSelf. Labor intensive, it's low, it's limited visibility. The way we solve this problem is with a three-step process. First step is data warehousing. We take the data from Acumatica, from Salesforce.com, whatever your systems are, can be on premises, can be in the cloud, whatever your systems are, your OLTP systems are, we take that data, we put in a SQL Server data warehouse, we clean the data, and we optimize it for reporting. So step one is data warehousing. Plug and play, out of the box, day one, your Acumatica data in a robust, well-designed data warehouse with model data. The data is already combined together to do sales analysis, inventory analysis, AP analysis, AR, GL, P&L, balance sheet, inventory, forecasting, inventory turns, inventory, a lot of things ready to go on day one to be customized. Step two is what reporting tool do you want to use to get the data to users? And we support heavily the most popular analytics tools. Tableau, Power BI, and Excel are the most popular in the market, and we support the three of them. Very easy to use. Tableau, Power BI is like, Excel on steroids. It's web-based, very intuitive, run on mobile devices, on web browsers. We have also clients using other reporting tools like Domo, Click, and whatnot, but these three are the most popular. Step three is the library of KPIs. And that's part of the value. What should you be keeping track of? Today you're probably keeping track of lots of KPIs already. What else should you be keeping track of? Sometimes there are problems you don't know, or there are opportunities laying under the radar that nobody knows. Well, in DataSelf, if you go with the top tier, there are 8,000 reports and dashboards and KPIs ready to go on day one, ready to be customized on day one. And that's a way to also provide value for decision makers. Behind the scenes, ETL Plus, DataSelf ETL is the tool responsible to get your data from your source systems like Acumatica, load into the BI solution. The first load can be slow if you have a lot of data. So, bringing the data can be slow the first time. But after we load the first copy into your data warehouse, every subsequent refresh is going to be using what we call delta functionality, meaning only refresh what has changed. So we call the upsert refresh. Any data that has changed since the last refresh, we update them. Any data that is new, we bring it in. So upsert means update the data that has already been loaded, it has changed, and insert new data that was not there before. And because of that, after the first refresh of DataSelf from your Acumatica, Salesforce, HubSpot, and whatnot, the refresh will run in seconds, no matter how much data you have. Our largest Acumatica client, the largest table is like 70 million rows in a single table. It took a while to get the first load, but now the refresh runs fast, and every time they run reports, the reports run in seconds. And this is because of the backend system of DataSelf doing the heavy lifting. Pretty much the deployment of DataSelf, once we got the business figured out, the licenses go through Acumatica for ordering. But once we deploy DataSelf for your system, usually next day, everything that Tom has showed and a lot more would be available with your data. and then we start, testing, training, and whatnot. So it's very fast to get the system up and running. The pricing of DataSelf, we scheduled in a way that if you are a small company with a small budget, or if you're a very large company that looks at a lot of power, we have a pricing model that accommodates your needs, and hopefully we can help you, your decision makers, to get value out of DataSelf for an investment that is compatible with your pocket, deep pocket or shallow pocket in a way. Because you're participating in this webinar and because of the Acumatica Summit, we're having a promotion that if you place an order, if you're a new customer of DataSelf, and you place an order by January the 31st, you're going to get 15% off your first year DataSelf subscription. So if you are interested, you want to get the ball rolling and get a quote, why not, reach out to us. We'll be glad to discuss your needs, see what components of DataSelf will work for you, and hopefully this will save you some money and move forward quickly. With that in mind, I'm going to open the Q&A. If you have questions, you can use the Zoom chat functionality or the questions and answers. Let me open my panel here to see if there's any question already placed. All right. There's a question from Maggie here. How long does it take to learn DataSelf? Thanks for the question. That's a training question. How long it takes to learn? It depends on what you're trying to learn. Quite often, business users, they learn DataSelf with a little introduction. If you look at what Tom showed in the first 5 minutes, it's very straightforward for a business user to learn the basics of DataSelf, how to open a dashboard or a report, how to use the filters on the right, and if you need to change things, slice and dice things, how easy it is. Some business people, they don't want to change anything. They just want to run something. They don't want to change anything. So usually someone will be building these reports specifically for them. Many business people nowadays, they are more tech savvy and they understand how to change the filters, how to use slicers, so they become very self-sufficient. But anyhow, for business people, usually the training is very fast, usually an hour or even less. The business analyst, the report designer that today we didn't show, the official training is a 10-hour course. So business analysts, they want to learn, open the hood and see how the design works compared to Acumatica, right? It's about a 10-hour course. And if you want to learn the backend, the SQL Server side, the server components, then it depends on how much you already are familiar with BI components. We have some clients, we give them zero training. We give them our online resources and they do everything by themselves. They already have data geeks in-house, they already know SQL, Tableau, Power BI, they just run with it. And we have clients that everything is new, and then we help them with custom training to help with their education. Anyhow, a long answer, but summarizing, business users, super simple, super fast, usually under an hour. Business analysts, usually 10 hours, give them a lot of power. More backend people, it depends from 0 to many hours, depending if you need more support. I hope this answered the question. Next question from Tina. Are users require certain permissions within Acumatica to pull the information through DataSelf? Good question. So good and bad news. The bad news is that in DataSelf is a reporting tool that is actually outside of Acumatica, but we can bring inside of Acumatica. That means the point is the user security you built in Acumatica doesn't flow automatically into DataSelf. That's the bad news. You have to, if you have security rules for your reporting users in DataSelf, you need to build those rules in DataSelf. That's the bad news. The good news is quite often as people start to use DataSelf, sooner or later they realize, I can give some users that are not Acumatica reports from DataSelf, pulling data from Acumatica, pulling data from payroll, pulling data from Google. It doesn't matter. The data comes from somewhere. And now the beauty is because DataSelf is not inside of Acumatica, and you have the security outside of Acumatica, you're not bound, you're not within the walls of the Acumatica security, and you have more flexibility of how to attach your KPI security beyond the Acumatica capabilities. And for many businesses, that's hallelujah. Finally, I can have a reporting tool that works across all of my data sources, that I can attach security in a more detailed level than Acumatica, and provide my board members that usually don't have access to Acumatica to their reports every month, quarter, a year. I can give to my vendors access to some of my reports, to my clients, without touching Acumatica and doing those things. So the security in DataSelf is separate. It's very granular. It's simple to set up the basics, but you can also turn the dials in a way to control who will have access to what. Let's say I'm a salesperson. I can see, if I'm the VP of sales, I can see sales for for the whole business. But if I'm the person responsible for California, I have access to, let's say, to some report, and then my VP has access to the same report, but when I open them, I only see my own sales. I cannot see anyone else's. So there is granularity that can control security. Looks like those are the questions. So thanks for questions. If you go to Summit, we're going to have a booth over there. We're also going to have 2 sessions. One session is going to be primarily the same content as this one on Monday at 12:50. And then on Tuesday at 4 p.m., I'm going to be part of a panel of KPIs for distribution companies that will also include an Acumatica panelist and a person from Crestwood. So if you want to learn more, you have a full hour around KPIs and whatnot. That session will also be very informative. If you want to discuss more DataSelf, if you want to learn how it applies to your business, here is our information. Feel free to reach out. I really appreciate for your time today, and hopefully I'll see you guys in Vegas. Thank you, and happy Friday.